Welcome back to Worth Watching. You've heard the idea before that you can't truly decide whether or not to watch or drop a show. You need to at least watch the first 3 episodes before you come to that decision. Get past all that setup stuff and get a good grasp on the characters and the mood. Well, I'm here to once again put that theory to the test. But unlike my previous 3 videos in this series, this time I actually do know about what it is we're watching today. The Odd One's Out. I've seen his videos. Well, of course I have. Look at these numbers. Who hasn't watched his stuff? One of the earliest pioneers of the animated storytime genre of YouTube video. For the first few years I watched his stuff, and then just suddenly I lost interest and I stopped watching. Not that I hated his videos or anything, I just kind of moved on. His stories weren't entertaining me anymore, and I just sort of walked away after a while. I did go back and watch a more recent vid at some point in time. It's the one about projecting into dreams or something, I don't know. And I was amazed at how much more colorful and fully animated it is compared to his old stuff. Odd One's Out, or James, that's his real name, has been doing all kinds of stuff and has branched out of his YouTube bubble. He's had several books and board games and other kind of games and stuff like that. So when I saw that he got his own animated series on Netflix, I wasn't surprised. But I also wasn't too thrilled or anything. The thing is, for me at least, I don't find James all that funny. At times he can be funny, but more often than not, the jokes just don't land for me. And on top of that, and I know this next point is very, very subjective, I don't like the art style. I'm sorry, it looks fine, but I'm just not a fan. Don't get me wrong, I totally understand the idea of having a simplistic, easy-to-draw character as your mascot. I get it, but I don't know. I think it's the inconsistency that gets me. I don't like how some characters are white, like paper white, like pure white, but then other characters have realistic skin tones. I don't like the potato-y proportions, especially his legs and feet. I don't like how sometimes characters have large egg-shaped heads and flippers for hands, but other times they have more realistic proportions and actual fingers. Sometimes characters wear clothes, and sometimes they don't. You see what I mean about inconsistency? But that's just a personal gripe, and honestly, I don't know how it'll be for this professionally made show. I guess there's only one way to find out. To stop jabberjawing, and let's dive into Oddballs and see for ourselves.
I wanna be a ladder!
Okay, well, first off, I really like the idea of the desert setting. I know from his videos he's mentioned growing up in Arizona, and I love the desert. I love it. It's so beautiful, and it's really fun seeing that setting here. I love this giant cactus thing. This is cool. But then there's this alligator.
And I slept like a failed genetic experiment gifted with human intelligence and voice.
Well, that's an oddly specific metaphor, considering that's exactly what you are. And you're ripping my stuff.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So, okay, heavy-handed word vomit isn't the best way to introduce a character, but I guess at least they got it out of the way. Quite frankly, I don't think it was necessary. He could just have an alligator friend. Walking, talking animal companions are kinda really common in cartoons. They start off and literally every joke they're making is just saying what they're doing, or saying what we can see on the screen.
Hey, I threw it out the window!
And then they sing a song.
So toast it,
Put that slice in the slot.
I'm not gonna lie, this feels like an attempt at Teen Titans Go humor. Their toast burns, and he goes on a whole rant about toasters and how their perfect breakfast is ruined, and I'm just sitting here it looked like you had a whole ass bag of bread left, well, just toast it again. Why is your ass so shiny? Fuck, why is your ass so big? Remember what I said about the potato proportions? So they want a smart toaster to toast better, so they rip the AI chip out of their fridge and jam it into the toaster, and then
So that's how babies are made.
I would like to remind everyone that this is the 4-minute mark of the show.
he has your eyes.
He 100% does not. He has your eyes. If he had Max's eyes, they would have looked like this.
Could you make perfect toast when you were a baby?
Ew, why is this so gross?
Now let's see how it feels about electrocution.
What?
Alright, I gotta say, the voice acting is not amazing. Max, I think, is a little bit better. He's shown a wide array of emotions, at least. It's just that sometimes he's a little bit mumbly, but James sounds very forced. Honestly, he sounds like he does in his YouTube videos, but in his videos, he's actively presenting a story to you. Telling a story and just talking to your friends sounds different. James just doesn't have a lot of inflection, and it makes it sound a little one note.
Careful, he'll hear you!
Like, he always sounds happy, like that fake voice you put on when you're talking to customers at your work retail. So the rest of the episode, the two are arguing with each other over how to raise Toasty. James is overly protective, and even when Toasty burns the toast, he tells him he's doing perfectly fine. While Max is too strict and has too high expectations for Toasty and treats him like a science experiment. Toasty gets upset at their constant fighting and runs off, causing havoc. They also did their slow motion like this. All he did was walk 3 steps forward, and they decided that needed to be slow motion, I guess. Anyways, the episode ends with James pulling out the AI chip and killing Toasty, except not really. Not gonna lie, this was really not good. Like, I had pretty low hopes to start with, but this episode was just not fun. It's not fun watching two characters with kind of annoying voices arguing the whole time, while also listening to baby babbling. I don't know where the show would go from here. What's the hook of the show? A dude and his alligator friend hang out and shenanigans ensue? I don't know. Also, I know they try to address the idea of, like, strict parenting versus too overprotective parenting, but they didn't really come to a conclusion in the end. Their conclusion in the end was kill the baby. They didn't change their parenting styles. I don't know. They're not even a moral lesson. I will say, episode 2 starts off, and I already find it a lot funnier.
I turned into a real boy?
No, Max, that'll never happen.
I think it's the snappier pacing, or the fact it's not starting off with two characters just word vomiting, exposition, and saying everything that we can already see because it's an animated medium. Seriously, why would you do that? So we meet his parents. Also, notably, these are not the same parents that he has from his YouTube videos, which are his real parents. These two seem to be completely unique characters, which is nice. I was really afraid the whole show was gonna be just one big circle jerk to the in-jokes found in his YouTube channel. That would be really, really bad and make for a very bad cartoon. Remember what I said about, like, sometimes people wear clothes and sometimes they don't? Do you understand why this inconsistency bothers me? Anyways, the plot of the episode is that James wants a smartphone because his old one is dumb and bad. His mom, who's a scientist, agrees under one condition. She does an experiment on him where she fuses him and a smartphone together, and he turns into a smartphone person. If he can go the whole day without damaging himself, she'll get him a real phone. Great, off to dirt school to start the day.
I'm a smartphone!
Yeah. What? This has been explained like 5 times. Your mom straight up told you you're a smartphone.
Hello?
It worked! You're a smartphone!
Why is this suddenly a surprise for the character? Okay, like, they go to school and their teacher is a fucking fly. One kid is a cat, and that person seems to be a fucking volcano. Why did they feel the need to explain Max as a genetic experiment? Are these people also genetic experiments? I wouldn't be questioning this if they didn't keep bringing attention to it. Being an experiment is like 70% of everything Max has said.
I am so confused!
Honestly though, while I do find it wildly distracting just how vast the different designs for the characters are, between James and his parents' potato features versus the realistic people versus the animals, after a bit, I kinda dig it. It's a bit like Gumball, where the nonsensical array of who/what the characters are is kind of charming. I like it. The rest of the episode is fine. I found it a bit more interesting than the first episode, but the humor is still really not landing for me. Like, nothing's been nearly as bad as the first 3 minutes of episode 1, but it's nothing impressive either.
It courts.
Dad!
Little thing that's kinda weird, Mom and Dad aren't listed in the credits, so I think they went with the characters' first names, but like, how am I supposed to know that? Just list them as Mom and Dad in the credits. That's way less confusing. So James kills a fly, and then the next day in class, their teacher is upset because his grandma McFly went missing, and the boys are pretty sure it was the fly they killed. Okay, I haven't brought this up, but they keep doing this thing where Max is like way too detailed in his render. I know it's a joke, kind of like the hyper-realistic frames from SpongeBob episodes. I don't know, they just do it at random times though. Half the time I think it works, the other half the time I think it's just jarring. And I wish it was more than just Max. Like, I get it, he's an alligator. Making him look like a real alligator can be funny, but it's kind of lost its appeal. They've done it like 4 times and it's only the 3rd episode. Like, how many more times are we gonna keep trying to repeat this?
I said I didn't kill anybody! Now stop interrupting!
I will say, the show has gotten consistently funnier. It's hard for me to talk about it because 1, that ruins the jokes, and 2, there's not much to say other than this is funny. Humor is very, very, very subjective, and you can't really like explain how humor works without also ruining the humor, because the moment you explain a joke, it stops being funny. That's why, while it might seem like I'm picking on the show a lot, I'm just focusing more on the parts that I don't find funny, because that way it's easier for me to explain my reasoning behind it. While James was out burning the body, Max accidentally killed a bunch more flies. What's more, it looks like McFly is getting closer to catching them, and means business.
Oh no! He knows what I did and now he's coming for revenge!
We know! Without a doubt, the biggest issue I have with the show is it has a weird reliance on just stating things that we already know, or things that we can plainly see. I don't know if they think this counts as a joke, but it doesn't. It just more reads as like they're talking down to your audience. It's a visual medium. Rely on your visuals. People are smart. You don't need your characters to explain something that we can see. Have more faith in your audience. Oh, he didn't actually kill anyone. I know, shocker, huh? So that was the first 3 episodes of Oddballs, and based on this, would I keep watching it? No. Listen, it's not like it's awful or anything. I can get behind the idea of an episodic shenanigans type of show, but this one just failed to ever really hook me. Honestly, I found myself more confused and intrigued by the weirdly deep lore of it all. Like, the lab and the genetic experiments and whatnot. I know there's another character who will join the team later, and she's from the future and stuff. By all means, James and Ethan have created a show that has tons of really deep lore, but to the in-universe characters, it's just everyday stuff to them, so they don't bother explaining any of it. Which is kind of cool, but like, as far as the actual show itself, the antics of our main leads, meh. I mean, they're wacky and creative, but the plot lines felt dragged out, even for 15-minute long episodes. I just keep wondering, why would I want to bother watching these 2 characters over other characters, you know? Like, okay, hear me out. This is a plot summary of Regular Show. A show that, by all means, is very similar to Oddballs, where it's just about 2 friends existing. Just replace school with job. Going to Google, it says, quote, "The series revolves around the daily lives of 2 23-year-old friends, Mordecai, a blue jay, and Rigby, a raccoon. They work as groundskeepers at a park and spend their days trying to avoid work and entertain themselves by any means." Now, if we do the same for Oddballs, we get this. The town of Dirt, Arizona is the home of lab experiments turned loose, including James the Bubble Boy, his talking crocodile friend Max, and a girl from the future named Echo. With so many unexplained things in life, the 3 of them cause chaos as they question the wacky world around them. Okay, so fun fact, I was editing this video together, and I, for the life of me, could not find that same description again. I don't know. Like, it was what I typed into Google, but now when I type it into Google, I get something different. It's similar, but it's different. And I don't know why. Now it says, the series takes place in the fictional Dirt, Arizona, following the main protagonist, James, often partnered with his best friend, a dim-witted crocodile named Max, and, as of the 4th episode, a time-traveling girl named Echo. James's rants and questioning of social norms often result in disaster each episode. That's the description now. Alright, back to what I was saying. The key difference between these 2 things is Regular Show explains what the characters do. Oddballs is about what the characters are. A premise is not a plot, and I think that's what kept Oddballs from ever really hooking me. Also, the characters of Max and James, at least from what I've gathered from these first 3 episodes, don't really stand out too much. They're both just kind of nice and kind of eccentric. They're not really exaggerated enough to really stand out, and no other character helps them to shine. Yeah, Timmy Turner is also just kind of nice, but Cosmo is the idiot. Wanda's really strict. Vicky's a monster. If you're gonna have a just nice guy, regular dude as your main character, your supporting cast needs to be really extreme. Aside from their designs, nothing about the actual characterization of anyone in the show stands out much to me. On a brighter note though, I do think this is a very creative first cartoon endeavor. I hope James and Ethan do more. Honestly, I think they could do a much more dramatic show really well, and I hope James doesn't feel pressured into only doing things that center around his character of James, this guy, this mascot guy. I think he could do a lot more and make a lot more interesting characters if he didn't try to keep it all within the bubble of this mascot character. I would like to see just more interesting characters. Max is interesting. Mr. McFly is interesting. Echo seems interesting from what I've seen. I don't know, I don't think James is interesting enough. I don't think the show is terrible. I think it's fine. It can be funny at times. I think kids would really like it, which is probably the most important part. I couldn't imagine wanting to binge the whole thing, personally, but I would totally understand why others would be into it. It's by no means bad, just it never really got me.
What you doing out here with all this ass? Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon, hella ass.
Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Nako, James Dodds, Cool Duck, Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Sunny Shy, Azoth, Great Bar, Pentamenta, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Zero to Hero, Keithan, Isaiah, Joseph, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Messiah Complex, Jacob, and Virus. So yeah, what did you all think of Oddballs? What do you think of James's, regular YouTube channel and stuff? Do you like the characters? Do you think the jokes worked? What was your favorite joke? And if it didn't work out for you, why did you feel that way? Any and all thoughts and opinions about the show, the design of the characters, the comedy, the plots, everything. Leave them down in the comments below. I would love to see what you have to say, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.